So thank you again for taking the time to come and learn about Cameras for Girls, where we've been, where we're going, and most importantly, how we spend donor dollars. As most charities will tell you this year, it's been very challenging when it comes to fundraising, but I'm of the mission that, regardless of fundraising or what's in the bank, sorry, Kelsey, she's my treasurer.
Mhm.
I think that the impact that we're making is just as important. And if you constantly worry about what's in the bank, you're not gonna move forward. So I'll start with that. Let me just make sure. Okay, so I'm gonna play you a video. Hopefully it plays off of here. This is a 3-minute documentary that one of our board members, Christina, she came to Uganda with me in June for our training because she wanted to capture behind the scenes. And so we came home and we put together this, she recorded me plus with all the footage that we captured, and we've made a 2-minute, just over a 2-minute documentary that we're going to be able to put onto our website. And then I've got somebody who's approached us who wants to do a feature length documentary. So we're working on that behind the scenes. So hopefully this plays. Okay.
So my family and I come from Uganda. We came from Uganda 50 years ago, 51 this year, as refugees. And the moment of truth for starting Cameras for Girls actually came upon my rediscovery trip. And on that discovery trip, I recognized the plight of women and girls. I was meeting young women, young girls who are not getting educated because it's a privilege, it's not a right. And if their families had the money, they're going to educate their sons over their daughters. And I came up with the idea to teach photography to girls endeavoring to be journalists and photographers because it's male dominated across Africa. And I could put my skills as a storyteller, filmmaker, photographer to use by paying it forward and making a difference.
Hello, everyone. My name is Melanie Joyce Nampati, and I'm standing here giving credit to Camera for Girls. It has helped me to improve on my photographic skills, and most importantly, it helped me launch my beautiful book. Thank you so much, Camera for Girls. You've really, really done a great job.
Women's voices are not heard across Africa. And more importantly than just giving them photography and business skills is empowering young women to find their voice, learn how to put it out in the world, and life skills so that she can carry on past Cameras for Girls. Whether it be a one-time or hopefully a monthly donation, we need your support. When you invest in a small charity like ours, we're putting every dollar to work. We are grassroots making it happen. Your contribution, whether small or large, volunteering or otherwise, really will help us propel forward and make a difference in a girl's life.
So that, I will go back to our presentation. Okay. So as you know, or you might not know, our mission at Cameras for Girls is to pursue women's empowerment, gender equality, and the alleviation of poverty. We follow the United Nations SDG number 1, number 5, number 8, and number 17. Basically, no poverty, education as a right for all women, gender equality, and partnership for the goals. And basically what we do at Cameras for Girls is we provide a camera to keep and a 4-phase photography, business, and storytelling program that empowers these girls to use their voices, learn photography, and fight for their space in male-dominated media spaces across Africa. And so since 2018, we've been in Uganda. And we have now worked with 64 young women in Uganda. And we just finished our first workshop in Tanzania with 15 young women. And then because during COVID, I could not get back to Uganda to do our annual trainings in person, I sat down and I built a purpose-built a purpose-built video library. So this houses all of our video trainings, whether it's photography, marketing, business skills, or even about storytelling. It houses interviews with journalists, photographers from around the world. It's basically their one-stop shop to learn what they want to learn, accessible 24/7. And then on Fridays, I do live trainings, whether it's photography, storytelling, business skills. And then we've got lots of guest speakers that have been coming on, such as Rusty, who's here today, to offer their skills and pay it forward to the girls to learn something that they're not able to learn through their journalism programs because they're theoretical, not practical, which is a gender-based, which is the lack of a camera, I would say, is the gender-based barrier, but the lack of practical skills holds them back from getting jobs. And it's just another way for the male-dominated media spaces to keep women's voices and participation out of the space. Anytime if you have any questions, let me know. So as I mentioned, there's lots of gender-based barriers to employment, and especially when it comes to the media space, lack of a camera, which is a requirement for job placement, is number one. So a male will not even have to go and get educated, not even have to have photography skills, writing skills, and they'll still get jobs. But women have these barriers placed on them. So we meet that barrier by giving them a camera to keep. And then they have systemic sexual harassment. So we have been doing a lot of work over the last year and a half to advocate against this. We're working with media houses, we're working with women's media associations, and just getting the conversation going. Recently, I was in Tanzania, and after our workshop, I held a one-day conference with media houses. And the one thing that I pushed for was a discussion around why there's so many barriers placed on women. And what came out of the discussion was a couple of things. Number one, they're afraid women are going to go away and have babies and not be able to do the job. And number two, they also focused on the fact that women in many cases don't want to do the hard jobs. They don't want to do the hard work of chasing the jobs and reporting on them, whereas men will, which is a self-imposed barrier, if you will. So what we do at Cameras for Girls is make sure that our girls are equipped not only with the photography skills, but the skills to go out there and really learn how to, you know, be contributing members to society and build their confidence, build their public speaking skills, build their leadership skills, take on any job that's given to them. And that comes in the form of monthly assignments that I give and biweekly photo practice. And I'm strict with this because it helps them build a portfolio. So when they're going out to get jobs, they have something to show. And also we build up that you are not, you don't use your sexuality on the job. You don't fall prey into, these media bosses that are using your sexuality against you because you'll not get anywhere. So it's a huge issue that we're trying to combat, but we can't do it alone. So we've partnered with many other organizations, including Journalists for Human Rights, which is Toronto-based, but they have a Kenyan office. And then they lack agency and they lack a voice, which I already mentioned. And they think that, their place, because society tells them, is in the home. But once you show them the way that it's not, and there's so many opportunities, it's amazing to see them take ownership and pride and just move forward. And that's what's happening, especially with our Uganda women, because we've trained 64 to date, and 74% of them, and I think it actually might be higher, have full-time jobs, journalists, photojournalists. Some have their own businesses, some are consulting, some are doing photography. So we meet them where they want to be and give them the skills to get there. And then again, cultural bias. So this is what our curriculum looks like. It starts with phase one. We do the 4-day Uganda or Tanzania now workshop. And that includes the camera, the training, which goes into all the basics of photography, storytelling. We talk about ethical photography, I'll show you on the next page what it entails. And then we provide transportation, we provide daily meals, and then we also work with a local NGO. So the girls get that taste for that field experience. So with this NGO, we get the girls working with them to research a story, develop a story, and then over the 3 weeks after we finish that phase one or that day, the 4 days, they have to go away and write a 500-word article, and they have to put together 20 to 30 photos embedded in that article. And during this time, they're learning how to edit. They're getting their first taste into Lightroom and Photoshop, but then they're also learning critical skills like how to use Grammarly, because English may not be a first language. Some of them struggle. And so when they can produce polished pieces for their portfolio, it's going to set them up for success. And then online training, which is what happens when I come back to Canada. So usually within 2 to 3 weeks of our phase one, I'm starting them on the online training. Recently, I was in Tanzania, and they started within the week that I was there. So that entails me teaching every Friday. We have guest speakers, and then they have monthly assignments. They have bi-weekly photo practice, and everything is set up so that the goal is just to move them forward in their skills for both writing, researching, storytelling, and photography. And they also have access during this to that online platform. Now, I'll mention another thing about the online platform is that we have been able to bring on partnerships through refugee settlements. Many young people are struggling because the refugee settlements are growing at an alarming rate, displacement in the world. We've seen the stories. And so I've been reached out by many of these organizations to see if we can offer them skills-based learning. And we're not able to offer, like in our core programming, a camera or computers or phones, but we can offer access to our online training platform. So they're able to do every single thing the other girls can do, including joining our Friday sessions, sending photos for review, trying their hand at monthly assignments, the mentorship, everything, building a LinkedIn profile. But we just can't support them financially on the other side. And so we make it work. And so from that, I think I've got over 100 young people across Africa coming from these various organizations. And that is growing. As our brand gets out there, our reach gets out there, more people are approaching us for this access. And because it's already built and maintained, it's easy to provide that access. And the benefit is it gets Cameras for Girls' name out there. And then phase three, we really dig down into the business skills. And this happens intermingling with phase two. So we don't wait until they're finished a year-long training to jump into business skills, because some of them are already out there looking for work. So we teach them how to build a robust LinkedIn profile. I work with a consultant who will look at what they have either as the bones of it or not even having started. And we gather the information from the girls, and then we help them build this out. And the benefit of this is that we're not just building them out to work in Africa, but we're showing them the opportunities that exist outside of Africa. Some of them today wrote to me to apply for the Obama Scholars program, which is, I think, a 6 to 9 months scholars program. But if they don't have anything to show other than a resume and they don't have a LinkedIn profile, their opportunities are limited. So it also helps them network, find other opportunities, find other people to collaborate with, and so on. And then we're also digging into leadership skills or public speaking skills. And some of our girls have joined Toastmasters. We also teach them about business skills, simply like savings plans, because they may make very little, but if they can save 10% over time, it will grow. And then we also, we don't offer mental health support, but as I mentioned earlier, some of our girls deal with sexual harassment. And so what we've done is found collaborative partners to come in on the other side and offer them that mental health support or offer them guidance or counseling. And we pay for that. And then to cap it all off, we offer them a 6-month mentorship. And this, I think, is where the magic happens, because we have formed them, maybe molded them, but they might not have reached their goals in a year. So we set them up with mentors from all walks of life. And so we had patients who really spearheaded this for me, because I went back for 2022, and I met with patients after COVID the night before we started our 2022 program. She was in our 2019. And she had kept on going to work every single day, but not getting paid. And so when we sat down, she told me that, look, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to move forward. I've got all these skills, but I've not been getting paid and I'm going into work. And I asked her, are the men at your work getting paid? And she said, yes. And I said, what does that tell you? So I told her to go home, get out her computer, finish her LinkedIn profile, and I would find her a mentor. The very next day, I set her up with mentorship. And 6 months later, she finished her mentorship, and Patience won Travel Writer of the Year in Uganda for 2023, or sorry, 2022. And then she's now gone on to form a consulting company, writing, and also for other travel brands, but also teaching other women to write like her or to develop their writing. And then she's also mentoring some former students who are now in Cameras for Girls as a way to pay it forward. And that's the whole goal, is that when they can come out of this program with success, they're going to come back and pay it forward to others. And so this is what they learn in the 4-day workshop. And I forgot to mention in the previous that aside from all of this, they also get access to a filmmaking camp, digital marketing skills, because we have 2 girls who are teaching that, and then an editing lab, which they learn Lightroom, Photoshop. And then, if they have something that they want to chase or pursue and it's within the program scope, we will help them to do it by funding it. So, many of these girls have never touched a camera before, even though they are in a journalism program. Maybe there's 600 kids or young people in a journalism program. They get 3 days, maybe training on photography, and they have maybe 20 cameras to serve all 600 people. But yet it's a component they need to know when they graduate. So you can see there's a huge gap. And so we go through this at the beginning of the 4 days. We teach them the exposure triangle. We teach them how to go from automatic to manual. Again, some of them never having owned or even run through a camera before. And it's incredible to see the first day to the 4th day, how fast or how far they come. And also in their confidence and their knowledge that, oh, I can do this. I've always been told I can't. I can, just need to be shown the way. And that comes with anybody and anything in life, I think. So this is our impact so far, as I mentioned. So combined 79 students now through our in-person workshop in Uganda and Tanzania. Over COVID, we did 10 students in South Africa, me sitting here training for 4 days, and a photographer on the other end who helped me run our practical day. And out of those girls, they wanted just pure photography for travel purposes. 3 of them are working in the travel industry using their photography skills, but they're also offering their photography skills. One is doing food and product photography. One is doing portrait photography, and the other one has combined it with her knowledge in graphic design. And then 137 students and growing on our online training platform reached through various organizations across Africa. And so 74% again now have full-time paid work. And other than the work, this really moves the agenda forward for gender equality, women's empowerment, but most importantly, getting them out of poverty. Because not only does it take them out of poverty, but it helps them, their families, because they can now support their families or their younger siblings through school. And also it helps the community as a whole, because when they can see one girl can show the other that I succeeded, I'm going to show you the way to succeed. So many of our girls who graduate go on to tell others about Cameras for Girls, and I'll get emails all the time. I want to join Cameras for Girls. And it's easy for me now to say, you can have access to our online training platform. And if you're in the journalism scope, you can apply for our program when it's open next year. So it keeps people coming through the platform, learning, growing, and paying it forward. So again, this is our sustainable development goals. And we chose to follow the SDGs because it's not just enough to talk about gender equality or decent, no poverty. You have to practice it. And I think a lot of this SDG these days has become buzzwords, but it frames everything within our gender policy, which is currently being developed with a consultant. And I'm hoping to have that finished either before the end of the year or early next year so that we can put that on our website, proudly showing that all of our work is defined by these goals. So who are our partners? In Uganda, we work with Makerere University, which is the largest university across East Africa, and Uganda Christian University. In Tanzania, University of Dar es Salaam. And then in Tanzania, we've also partnered with one of my volunteers is a very famous photographer, and he started the Female Photographers Program in Tanzania. And that's how I found him. So now we're kind of collaborating because my goal at the end of the day is to grow our Train the Trainer program, which is what we are endeavoring to do in 2024, specifically in Uganda. And what this means is I'll take 5 out of the 64 former students and I'll train them between 6 to 9 months to be me, to do exactly what I do, because Cameras for Girls cannot be sustainable unless I am able to grow our program. And the only way I'm able to grow our impact and our reach, but also make it more country specific and country owned, because I'm very cognizant of not being colonial in our work, is to have the young women who come through this and the volunteers who support us own this program at the end of the day. Cameras for Girls will still oversee it, but I cannot be here, there, and everywhere. I cannot grow our organization as the executive director, and I cannot be the lead trainer for every program that we endeavor to do. And my goal is to expand across Africa. Right now, we have possible partnerships, Kenya 2025, Ghana 2026, Nigeria 2027, and Sierra Leone 2028. And if South Africa can get their electricity problem fixed, we will be there as well. And so our refugee settlements that we are currently working with are the Nachivali refugee settlement, Bidi refugee settlement, and then we have Social Innovation Academy, which is a partner. They are huge across Uganda, training youth in various economic, climate, and social endeavors. And so Cameras for Girls came on to provide training to their females who want to take what they're doing in the social endeavor space and document it so that they can actually sell their products. And then Nigeria's new, we just signed them on the other day. They're new digital, and they are 2 women, Nigerian women who want to bring photography, storytelling to the masses by using only women creators. And so we're going to partner with them, which is going to be very exciting. And so this is how we raised our funds in 2023. Through individual donations, this could be through our Giving Tuesday campaign, our Canada Helps, our Zephy platform. We raised $10,903. And then a big part of what we do is we ask for in-kind camera donations. We collect used or new cameras, computers, all kinds of equipment, smartphones, anything that's not being used. and that stays out of the landfill is very supportive. And so we will turn around if it's a Canadian donor and give them a tax receipt for the in-kind value. If it's a US or outside, many people still want to donate, which is fantastic. We just cannot give them a donation receipt. And then corporate donations, we did really well this year. That also includes our foundational grants that we got. So Prasad Family Foundation, they are a couple in Collingwood, and they've given us $1,000 over 5 years. So we are in year 2. This year they gave us an extra 1,000, so we're up to 3,000 with them. Krushan Foundation in the US gave us 1,500 this year, and Tamara Foundation gave us 18,650, which supported our workshop in Tanzania. And I didn't have time to upload this or update this, but we just got $15,000 from the Levante Foundation in Toronto yesterday. So that's it's even higher, which is awesome. And then we've done various fundraisers throughout the year where we raised 11,503. I was hoping for much higher, but I'm happy with what we were able to do with the small reach that we have. And then right now, as of today, the funds in the bank are 19,000. So when we ended 2022, we were just over 10,000. So we've come much further. And I'm hoping that as time grows, that we are going to be able to build sustainability funding. And what that means is that we can hire staff, I can get paid, and we can grow our programming. And there's just a little bit of a note on this. I have been in touch with various government bodies or people, and I keep on getting the same messaging that we are too small to get funding. My question to them is, how do you get big if you're not going to get the funding? And that's a question that always remains elusive. But there are so many ways to find funds. So I'm constantly at work on this. So if you know of anybody or anything that would, any funds that would be willing to support Cameras for Girls, I would love to hear about it. And then how we spent the funds. This is a big one. So for our workshop in Uganda this year in June, it was 22,150. Half of that went to cameras and the accessories and the travel costs. And I would say the cameras this year just alone was 10,540. So back in 2019, the same cameras, we used the Canon G1X, were costing us between $200 and $300. Post-COVID, they now cost us $450 to $600, and these are used cameras because everything went up, as we all know, and finding the cameras is not as easy as it was before. And people know now that for used cameras, they can get a lot more money. So this has been our major challenge. And some people will say to me, but why do you use this camera? Why can't you use a cheaper camera? So we do not give a DSLR, but it's one step under a DSLR. And I've chosen this camera for a few reasons. Number one, it's big and it's robust enough for photography and videography, but just small enough for them to put in a purse so that it doesn't get stolen. It's full metal body, weather resistant, helps them take video, helps them great photography, has a built-in ND filter, great for taking interviews. And when we looked at all of our options in the market, it really is the best camera for them to grow with. It's not enough for me to just give them a camera, show them how to use it, and then it be unusable. That's a useless waste of money. So cameras are our largest cost. And I do my best to keep travel costs at a minimum. I do not stay at, fancy places. I stay at safe and affordable places. But when you're over time, costs will come up. Our recent workshop in Tanzania, we had 18,650 from the Tamara Foundation, and the rest came from our bank. So it was 22,650, and from that, it was 8,500 for cameras and accessories. Some of the money we used from our in-kind donation as well. And then we had 15 profiles, LinkedIn profiles built for our Uganda cohort at a cost of 1,500, so 100 each. And then we had 15 girls go through a 4-day, 4-night filmmaking camp with one of our partners. And then I did 2 conferences this year, one in Chicago and one in Africa while I was there at a cost of $2,750, because conferences are important for a couple of reasons. Number one, it builds up my skills. It builds up collaborations and partnerships, and it builds up the opportunity for me to venture out there away from my desk and see who else is doing amazing things and find those other, partners that could help us grow. And you can't do that on online conferences alone. It just doesn't work. And then digital tools for our training. We use Zoom, we use Vimeo to house our videos. And then we use our online training platform, which we've built in the back end of our website at a cost of $759. So we try to stay as lean and mean as possible. There is no salaries being paid out. We had one student this year through Scotiabank, and we will not be doing that next year. And we've got amazing volunteers, which are supporting me. But, again, we need to find that sustainability funding so that we can grow in all ways. And so what your donor dollars will fund in 2024 is, as I mentioned, we're working on the Train the Trainer program. And the proposed budget for a 7-day workshop and 9-month curriculum delivered both in person and online, because we are finding partners to help us deliver this, including Vital Voices. We're in talks with them. They are a global leadership program, so they are considering coming, on as partners. Toastmasters to offer public speaking skills. And then we're in talks with Canon, Adobe, and others to supplement the program with tools and training, plus what we will also deliver, which is a curriculum that we're developing. So for 5 women, including a camera kit, because the camera that they currently have is not sufficient enough to be training with, will be around 32,000. And we have 15,000 of that at this time. A follow-up workshop in both Uganda and Tanzania. And I'm also considering, instead of doing the workshop that I offer every year in Uganda, to instead do just the Train the Trainer program. So we can start that in Uganda while building out the other workshops in Tanzania and then Kenya. And then again, another 30 profiles for LinkedIn students, and then our digital tools for training. So again, lean and mean, but making an impact every step of the way. So I wanted to share some successes with you, because you've seen what we do, how we do it, what we spend, but this is, meeting these young girls and seeing what they're able to do through Cameras for Girls, I think really connects the dots when it comes to impact. So Junita was in our first class. She was 20 in 2018. Junita had a job when she took our training, but she wasn't getting paid. She wasn't getting published because she didn't have a camera. She didn't know how to use one. 2 weeks after finishing our training, she went to show her boss that she could now take photos. These are her photos. She's now paid 4 to 5 times a week, published 4 to 5 times a week, and she's mentoring other students to follow in her footsteps. Hafita was also in 2018, Photoshop user, which is a big magazine through Kelby One in the US, published an article about us last year, and Hafita's photo ended up on the front page, which is amazing because it went to a network of over 100,000 people, and we got a lot of amazing donations of camera equipment through this. So she became a news anchor, which is a very male-dominated position in Uganda. And she works for TV Africa, which is, and she's also the only new Muslim news anchor in the country. Patience I spoke to you about earlier. She was working at Chimp Reports. She also did an expose with Reuters on the illicit gold trade in Uganda, won Travel Writer of the Year in 2022, and is mentoring others and has now started her own consultancy firm called Rosiel. Brandy took our training in 2019, and as of recent, she was in Estonia at a UN youth ambassador training program. Because her goal, she took the camera and she taught herself videography because she was like, this camera stuff is not for me. So she started 2 successful podcasts. She's one of the top podcasters in Uganda for a woman, called the Ugandan Podcast. And now, after going to the UN, she's now back as a UN youth ambassador, so she can bring more youth into the government and get their voices heard. Uganda has a very, not supportive policy for youth and women, and so she's really fighting for this. Melanie, you saw in the video. She came to me, I think it was, we started in June, and in November, she came to me and said, look, I've written a book and I found the place to do my promo event. I found the publisher. I'm just short, some money. And the equivalent was, I think, $60 US, which I gladly gave her. And then I brought 25 books home and gave them to my donors. But I've got some other people who want more books. So when I go back in June, I'll be buying more books. So if you want a book, let me know. And then Annette was in our 2022 cohort. She's just applied for the Obama Scholars Program. And this is one of her photos that was exhibited at a gallery showing in Toronto recently. So what I always look for is friends or others who are having galleries who may be able to promote Cameras for Girls. There was a competition amongst Cameras for Girls students, and she was chosen. And so this is her image and her certificate. And these are some of the images from our training. So this is back in 2018. We worked in a facility with no internet, electricity that would come in and out, but we made it work. And at that point, it was only 3 days. And we worked, this was our test program to see if it was even going to be possible. So if you'll see, the cameras are very different. I begged, borrowed, and stole any camera I could get my hands on just to make sure it worked. And then those who showed the following year, like Jonita, that they were doing the work and they were working towards it, I helped them fund another camera. This was 2019. We worked with our partner Youth Arts Movement, who's still our partner. Kenny teaches our girls editing, and we worked out of his facility. This was South Africa training, and I was sad not to be there in person, but it was really successful. And these are some of the girls and our trainer in the back there who helped me run this both in person and online. This was 2022. We worked out of the hotel that I stay at, which was Forest Cottages. Never again, because every single day they came to us and moved us from one room to another, and we constantly had to pick up and move, and the internet would come out and come in, and the electricity would go out. So it was challenging, which it always is, but you find a way to make things work. And then this was our last one in June 2023. We worked with, out of the Macquarie University offices there. They gave us training space. And then we also worked with Youth Arts Movement for our last 2 days. And this was our most recent, which ended in November 12th. And this is some of the girls that were learning. And here on the top left, this year we decided to have that early discussion about the challenges they're going to face on the job, such as gender bias and sexual harassment. And it was interesting to, have that discussion because some of the girls were, well, we can't speak up because this is the culture and this is what we have to accept. And my answer to them was, who told you you had to accept this as status quo? If you accept this as status quo, you will never get the job that you want. You will never move forward with the goals that you have. You have to be willing to buck against status quo. And that's what Cameras for Girls is all about, to teach you to use your voice, your agency, and your talents and your skills to get and meet your goals. And so from the day 1 to day 4, the the transference of what I was trying to tell them, plus their understanding, became apparent. And it really, it was exciting to see. And now they're immersed. They've just finished their first assignment. They're doing their biweekly photos. They're attending weekly classes, and they're really getting engaged. And 4 of them are emerging into finding that job that they so want, because they've graduated from the program. And they're realizing that all of the skills that they are going to learn are what's going to propel them forward. So this is the benefits of our program. Others, aside from photography, right? It's increased confidence. It's ability to use their voice, both physically and visually, because taking photographs, you're showing who you are. You're showing your storytelling skills, what's important to you. Increased leadership skills. They learn how to collaborate and work as a team. It's not just it's the collective we, like working together to reach our goals. And then learning a new skill that empowers them and other women in their community, because they're going out there and they're telling others about Cameras for Girls and what Cameras for Girls has done for them, and how we continue to stay engaged well past the year that they're with us. We have separate WhatsApp groups that we've developed for each year, but then we have an online group and everybody is part of that. So they can meet each other either on our Friday sessions, in the WhatsApp groups, get their, opportunities that I share every single day outside of Cameras for Girls, and just see the benefit that's coming to all of them at the same time. So here's how to support us. Some of you have joined our Changemakers Circle, and that is by either becoming a one-time or monthly donor. You can volunteer with us, right? Whether you want to lend your skills to one-on-one mentorship, or you want to come on a Friday training session and pay your skills forward. Recently, we had Rusty who came on to teach about writing. She's going to come back and do another session in the new year. We just finished 2 back-to-back sessions with a leadership coach. And it's not just about photography. I'm trying to open up their minds to all the different ways of learning. You can sponsor a workshop or a student, or donate used or new camera equipment or other equipment. Here's how to find us. We're on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, website. I have somebody posting on Facebook, but I'm not often there. But if you want to find me, I'm mostly on LinkedIn and Instagram. And that's it. Does anybody have any questions? Hi, Venix. Nice to see you. Karen, you had a question?
Amina, I have a question about used camera equipment.
Yep.
And if you have a way of transforming old camera equipment into the cameras that you actually use, do you have a place where you can sell them, or
Yeah. Great
trade them
question.
in, something like that? What do you do?
Yeah, so I'll collect the camera equipment, and then I'm very fortunate to have a friend now, but back then he was a contact. His name is Brian, and he owns his own camera store. And so he'll take every single piece of equipment that I bring him, whether it's used, new film, lighting equipment, tripods. I bring him so many different things. And he'll assess the value so that I can write the tax receipt, and then he'll sell the equipment on our behalf and bank it. And
Oh, that's brilliant.
that money
Yes.
allows us then to not tap into our core like bank account, but take the money out of that bank first to buy the cameras and then go back to our bank account for any shortfall.
Yeah. Excellent. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
And getting them to you is the next question.
Yeah, no,
Right.
people are, so I had a lady contact me in the US, and when we figured out together that it was going to be more expensive to ship me the equipment than the equipment was worth, I found her charity in her area that she could donate to. And then there's others who are like, well, I'm in the US, I'll just ship it to you, so that they do. Or if they're in Toronto or, you know, within the area that I can get to, I'll pick it up from them.
Yeah, because I still have a box of them here.
I know, and I have
We
to come
never
and
did
visit.
connect.
I will, I promise.
Okay.
Yeah,
They're older now.
I know. Maybe over Christmas, maybe I'll come down.
Yeah.
Anybody have any questions? Anybody else? Hello, Ian. No, nothing that's,
Well, I have some comments, but I wanted to come on camera. I've just not done my supper and I don't like it cold.
no, that's it. Go ahead. Yep.
Yeah, I was thinking about all the different topics people could speak to the girls about for some Fridays after you have like several Fridays that are really good applicable skills. There, you know, people need to look at what they've got for life experience that could be of value to these girls.
Mhm.
And this is off the wall topic, but it might be valuable in that, you know, I have been a victim of 4 different abusers of sexual abuse in childhood. And here I am, you know, so that could be a topic, but I don't know about that. But I want people to think outside the box for what they have, whether they've, you know, gone in and asked for a raise. That's a valuable topic to talk to your girls about.
Absolutely.
So it's not just about photography and journalism. It's things that you've overcome in your life. Your pain to paradise stories could be really empowering and enlightening for the girls to hear. The other
Absolutely.
thing I wanted to comment on was the Toastmasters, and I hope I did. I think I crossed it off a list or I lost the list, was to send you the free speaking practice every Friday morning. We have a young man from Africa. I don't know what part because Africa's so big and I'm terrible at geography unless I've driven there. And he at first had terrible internet issues. And lately he's been having some pretty good internet, and he has just so improved his speaking since he first started with us. And it's a free practice every Friday morning where everybody gets to have 2 times at least to practice a 2 or 3 minute story, which is what you need for a pitch.
Yep.
And when they're going to go pitch to an editor, and they can do that as well. And we're different than Toastmasters in that we are not so formulaic. So it really is about using their own life experiences to go in and sell themselves without selling, and also then maintaining the boundaries too. So there's that option. But I loved hearing the stories of the girls and all your successes, and that you're going to be training the trainer so that you can, you know, step back, and that's awesome. And it already looks like it's happening with some of your mentors that they're mentoring the younger girls. They're giving back what they received, and that just makes my heart sing, makes me know for sure that I have chosen the right charity to make one of my favorites. So thank you so much for all that you do.
Thank you.
And yes, I will keep on thinking of topics as long as you want topics and stuff. I'll keep on thinking of
Absolutely.
topics, and you can put me in when it suits you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm going to introduce you to Sandra, because Sandra is a actual Toastmaster of Toastmasters.
Oh, cool.
And she
Yeah.
teaches, is it every Monday or every Friday? When do you teach?
Oh, we have a discussion group. That's not a teaching group.
Okay.
Every Monday at noon, we have great deep discussion. That's not Toastmasters. I have my own club, but I'm also a member of a club that's got 16 countries involved. So something that might help you is the Lubowa Club in Uganda itself, in Kampala. Very well.
One of my students is a member.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, yeah, and she's loving it.
But yeah, yes, but all of those people, I'm sure, would also, since they're in Uganda, they'll have the same terrible or perfect Zoom time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And they would all be excellent in terms of helping you with the girls speaking up, because there's well-educated people there, and they've gotten themselves ahead for the same reasons that Rusty was just talking about.
Okay, I'd love it if you guys can share, like, send me an email
Yeah.
with the links. That would be awesome.
Oh,
We're wondering, Amina,
Yeah.
just more for your fundraising purposes.
Mhm.
Oh, have you gone through sort of specifically introducing yourself to certain Rotary clubs in the area? You have?
Yeah, I've been trying, like, so I was a Rotary member of Newmarket, and
Yeah.
I've approached 3 clubs that we used to work with, and
Mhm.
I keep on getting, you know what, we're so busy, we'll get back to you, and then they don't.
Okay.
And I've even
Okay.
approached our previous president, and they have a Uganda project, so they're not willing to fund mine. So,
Great.
but it's almost like I need somebody else to introduce Cameras for Girls and say, hey, I'd like to bring this organization in to speak instead of
Right.
me going direct. It's so weird.
Right.
That
I've got some connections. One of my clients is an international director. They live in Burlington, but
Okay.
so I'll reach out to them for sure.
Oh,
yeah.
that would be amazing. And
there's
maybe you can
also a
say,
local
hey, this,
chapter.
yeah,
Yeah.
ex Burlingtonian.
He'll be good for you.
Okay.
And there's a lady named Farine who's actually a golf pro, but she's she's
I know
Kenyan.
her. I
You
grew
know
up with
Farine?
her.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, she's in the Rotary too. So
Oh, okay. Yeah.
yeah.
And
I
she
haven't seen
takes
her in
groups
years.
over to, yeah, there's a connection. So that'll be good.
Interesting. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been
Very
doing,
interesting. You have me very interested. It's the first time Ian's sort of told me his connection with you and with your dad and
yep.
different things. And so I wanted to sit in and you know what, you're sort of a rock star. You hold yourself very well and you come across very well. So
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I wish you good things.
Thank you very much. And I really appreciate your support. And it's nice to put a name, like a name to the face for, because I always just see Jim Barr in my dad's emails, and then I never get to see the actual face of the people. So thank you for coming.
Well, you know.
Thank you for hosting.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Venix, are you here? Can you talk without the noise in the background? I'm not sure he can hear me. Venix is one of the people. Venix, are you here?
Yes, I'm listening in and I'm following the story.
So Venix is maybe the main person who helped me start Cameras for Girls. When I came to, so Venix is from Uganda, now living in the US, and we met back in 2007. Venix was actually my fixer on a documentary that I was filming. And years later, when I got this crazy program in my head, I reached out to Venix and I said, hey, do you remember me? I want to start this photography thing in Uganda, and I want to go and teach photography to girls who were affected by the Lord's Resistance Army. Back then, Joseph Kony had, it was, we were listening to the atrocious stories of child soldiers that were coming out of Uganda. And Venix was the one to say to me, well, that's never going to work. You need to work with women who are trying to be journalists, but facing barriers to entry because they don't know photography and they don't have access to cameras. So he was the one who put me on the straight path and got me started. And so, yeah. So thank you, Venix.
Thanks for the compliment.
You're welcome. So if there are no other comments or questions, I'm going to let everybody go, but I really want to thank you all for taking the time to sit with me and hear me out. And I will be sharing the recording. And if you ever have any, questions about what's happening or any feedback or anything you're confused about, I love having conversations with donors. So don't hesitate to reach out and say, hey, that thing is not quite clear to me, or can you clarify this, or what about trying this? Because I'm all ears. Yes, Rusty.
The question then, when you're sharing the recording,
Yep.
are you going to put it on YouTube? Would it be appropriate for us to put it sometimes on our YouTube? I know I can link to it
Yeah.
on my social media, which I will do.
Yep.
But I could put it on my YouTube and just say, hey, my favorite charity.
Yeah,
And this
absolutely.
is so cool. See how these girls are succeeding.
Yeah, I'm going to be
'cause
putting
the
it
way
on our
that
YouTube, and then I will share it from there.
Okay, so then I don't know if I can share a YouTube on my YouTube, but if
I
you,
don't know, because I think you can link to it though, but I'm not sure because.
oh, okay, well then I'll try to link to it. Otherwise, you could use WeTransfer to send it as well.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Cool to see you and cool to see all
You
the
too.
girls. It's awesome.
Thank you. Karen?
Yes, I'm here. My video is frozen for some reason, so
Oh, okay.
I've got a placeholder.
Well, I've recorded this, so I'll be sharing it. And yeah, I want to wish you all a very happy, safe, and joyous holidays. I'm taking time off for the first time in a long time. And
I
I'm gonna
wish you
try.
much rest.
I've even asked my husband to lock up my computer, but I'm probably going to steal it back because I'm
Ah,
such a workaholic.
yeah,
But I
that-
am going to take time off. And then we're going to come back.
And you're going to
strong.
come to Belleville.
Yeah, I am. Actually, I'll call you. I'll email you. I promise.
Yeah.
I'll email
Okay.
you and I'll set up some things. I get this done because it's been way overdue. All right. Well, happy holidays, everybody. Thank you and stay safe. And thank you again for taking the time.
Thank you, Amina, for having
Take
us,
care.
Okay.
for doing this.
Have a good night.
Merry holidays, everyone.
Happy
Happy
holidays. Bye.
Bye.